The snow is snowing, the wind is blowing, but I can weather the storm. What do I care how much it may storm? Okay.
Oh, that's a good lead into our show.
Yeah.
Solid.
Okay, so all this is working.
That's solid.
Bring that up. And just remember, we got to press record.
On the audio. Right. Man.
Off with my overcoat, off with my hat. I need no overcoat. I'm burning with love. My heart's on fire. The flames grow higher.
Does Wayne know he's on YouTube right now?
So I will weather the storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm. I've got my love to keep me warm. Are you allowed to sing positive songs, Ed?
Yes.
Okay.
You must. You have to.
Because a sunshiny song arranges all the cells in your body for the better.
Yes, it does. You've been using that all week. I've been using
Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well.
Yes!
There we go. Yeah,
Remember
Wayne's
that?
music, man.
Dr. Dale used to believe that.
Nice. See?
Okay, we're just.
All right.
Is that up? Okay, I'm going to hit record.
We're up and running. Should get a prayer for Wayne Manning to center. Wayne Manning, before you go dark, can you
well, you know
pray
what?
us in here?
You know what prayer is?
Say it again.
Positive mind conditioning.
Yes. Let's get some positive mind conditioning so we can get ready to do this show.
So you're asking me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's just tune in and amp up. That's all we're called to do right now is tune in and amp up and bring something to these folks that are listening and watching that'll add to their day, add to their week, add to their life. And so, God, we're willing to be clear channels of wisdom and support today. And we know that you are present with us, abiding in us, supporting us to do just that. Amen.
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 Man, why don't they make voices like that anymore?
The Wayne Manning voice. I know. Thank God we have Wayne.
Thank God I grew up in those days when men sounded like that.
Yeah. All right, Wayne Manning.
All right.
We'll see you at the break, and we'll.
Okay, I'm turning my picture off.
Right, great.
Whoops, need to get rid of that.
Yeah, you can mute yourself as well, so we don't hear you eating soup in the background.
I'm going to go hide self view. So now you can't see Beth Ann, can you? That other picture. Okay.
No, you're good.
Fabulous.
All right. There we go.
All right.
All right.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes, indeed.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Oh, boy.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from middle school studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Oh, what a beautiful day it is in middle school studios. Darrell had a visit from Rue earlier.
Yes, a tiny little dog that's a friend of Gidget's came by to hang out and help set up.
Yes. Today's show, the short version. No, I'll give you the long version. Shake it off. Limiting ideas, that is. Stir it up. Your faith, that is. And keep moving with Reverend Wayne Manning. Your mind feeds on ideas. Don't buy into the negative thought contagion of others. Once our mind accepts an idea, either good or bad, it immediately begins to conspire with that idea. It's up to us to choose what our minds will feast upon. We always have the freedom to choose the thoughts we will consume, fearful or faithful. Once you choose, it's like buying your ticket at a train station. Your mind will proceed to take you to the corresponding destination. On this episode, Darrell and Ed share the incredible benefits of choosing our thoughts and the power of changing our minds if we don't feel good about where our thoughts are taking us. That's very important. During the second segment, the wonderful Wayne Manning gets us all on the right track with today's reading, Courageous Thinking.
Courageous thinking
Courageous thinking
is the only way to go.
Yes. I was thinking earlier today, our show is Botox for your spirit. Hopefully, it'll plump them up nicely.
No, Botox paralyzes. Plump up, you need silicone.
No, don't they get the Botox injections? It like plumps up the lips?
No, they have to put in the.
Oh, I thought, because every time they say Botox, I thought it was in
No,
the lips.
Botox is the thing that
I see.
makes all the muscles in your face like just not scrunchy.
Yes.
So you look
Oh,
like-
no. Botox lips. Oh, I see. Whatever the case is, you get the idea. Whether we're smoothing things out for you or plumping you right up. Today, hopefully our show is better than fillers and Botox because it's coming from within you.
Yeah, it's the best makeover is the makeover of your own mind because your
Yes.
outside will reflect it. It makes you more attractive because you're actually radiating a magnetic vibration. Some refer
Yes.
to it as charm. When we meet someone who's charming, they walk in a room, you're like, holy cow, wow, do you see them? And the reason that is because they have a very healthy,
Yes.
idea of themselves.
Yes.
They are naturally affirming, I am pleasing to myself when I'm around others.
Yes. Fill your lips with joy instead of synthetic fillers. And that
Yeah.
will plump your spirit right up. If actually, this book is all about what you just said. It's called Secrets by Frances Wilshire. And she talks about these different steps. She says the art of receiving. She
Yes.
says the spirit is eager every moment, every hour, every day of every week to give you more and more of all your heart's desires. It says to you gently and positively, the best of every good thing is yours now. Stop asking and let me help you to receive this good that is already yours. All you have to do is become conscious of me to receive. Stop asking for the same thing over and over again and turn your attention to receiving it. All the gifts of life are within reach, but you must reach out for them by opening the door of acceptance. All that my Father has is mine. I and my Father are one, so I can give you everything. But you must expand your consciousness to receive more and more. This is a matter of life and growth. So think of anything you want and say to yourself, how would I look, act, and feel if I had that right now? It is a complete, satisfied, delighted feeling of oh so happy, oh so thrilled that makes a positive spiritual acceptance. You accept your gift and give thanks for it before you receive it on the material plane, which is another click that makes it work.
Well, I think the reason why a lot of us feel a little bit insecure about receiving our greater good, if it's something specific, and it could be anything, applying for a job, how you feel about your coworkers, or even, you just did an audition and now you're thinking, oh boy, I hope they call me back.
Right.
And I do this with things. I mean, just submitting anything, not just a resume. It could be anything where you're sharing something with the quote unquote gatekeeper of the organization or the person, and you've sent it in. All the gatekeeping part was open for you to do. I'm not talking about a cold call. So we want to get into something where our minds actually can get in the way after some seemingly good. You know what I mean? You get, hey, yeah, send us a resume. And so they're expecting your resume.
They're expecting your books at the Statue of Liberty as we speak.
Yes.
The actual Statue of Liberty.
The actual Statue of Liberty. Well, the thing is, what happens is, this is where we start to drop down and, oh, no, I don't want to get ahead of myself and think too positively about it, because this is one bad habit, because I don't want to jinx it. And you got to remember, I can't jinx anything. That's superstition. Stop it.
That thought is jinxing things.
That's jinxing things. But here, so I go, well, wait, where does this stem from? Because how can I get over that type of feeling and get into accepting? So the key is this. You got to get rid of, and it's a subconscious idea. You might not be consciously aware that you're doing this, but I'm going to put it out there. So next time you catch yourself concerned about, is the loan going to go through? I put in my paperwork, all these different things this could pertain to. And the problem is we put the whole weight of our consciousness in trying to hope ourselves into believing that the people, and this is the bad part, we're casting a person or this mysterious group of people as being in control of our fate. You may go, no, I'm not. Well, yes, you are. If you're thinking, oh, I don't know if this is going to happen. Well, that means you're putting your weight on that them deciding whether or not. So how do you get beyond that? Sometimes it's hard to think, well, God's working through them. Well, I say forget about even trying that.
Yeah, please get us out of this bad feeling place you've painted. Please.
Well, you got to go right to already imagining the best possible thing you would enjoy happening. Not something you have to really make happen. Like it could be the thing that tickles your brain when you were first applying for this. Get back to that feeling. Whether it's you saw yourself on the movie set. You didn't stop putting yourself in the weight of your prayer trying to get the people you believe, because we're making all this up, that are in control of your fate, and get back into the delightful idea of seeing yourself already traveling to that destination, or already visiting that particular place, or already working in the place that you imagined in the first place, that got you excited to apply in the first place. And that's where, once we decide that, and that's why that the idea that they call it a train of thought is so perfect, because whenever we decide something, whenever we make a decision, and the best way is to write things down. Every time you write things down, there's an ancient saying that when you write down the thing it is you desire, you start getting clear about it, and it starts to get rid of all obstacles within your own mind and in the world. And then the thing, you're actually inviting it into your life. So once you make a decision and you decided what the destination is, this is what you can reassure yourself. You've bought the ticket and already boarded the train. Like, you don't have to go back now. Are they going to let me back? Are they going to let me on the train? No, you bought the ticket to the destination you desire. You bought the ticket and you already boarded the train. Get back into that feeling, because that's a good feeling. And imagine you're on the train and it is moving to that destination. And it really, that for me, kicks the whole, is this going to, I hope they like, but what if they don't like it? Well, whatever it is, it's God's will. You got to let go of that.
You're describing what the show is all about. Go ahead.
Well, one last thing, because, what if something really seems like it is getting in the way? So I sent a package that was requested of the books to the Statue of Liberty on Tuesday, and because they invited me to send them. So I sent them.
When you say the Statue of Liberty, you're talking about the gift shop? What are you talking about?
Yes, the gift shop.
So that they can sell those books there.
Yes, they're going to review the books for the Ellis Island gift shop and the Statue of Liberty gift shop, which they're perfect for.
Right.
So anyway, I just said, you know what? I'll overnight it so I know it'll get to them. And they've already talked to me, so they get it. It's still in their mind. Like, all my intentions were good. I got excited. Who cares? $32. That's nothing. This is fun.
Right.
So I put it in the mail. I forget about it. And I decide to take a peek on, Thursday, thinking, probably already there.
Of course.
Right? So this way I don't do mental gymnastics of, I haven't heard from them. They probably hate it. So it's probably there. Well, I check it on Friday instead of Thursday, which was yesterday. Now, mind you, I sent this overnight on Tuesday. And Friday it said, it just arrived in a town in New Jersey, and it's got to go to like some other like hubs, postal hubs. And I'm like, okay. So I had two choices. One is, nothing's working. This is too good to be true, which I didn't even feel this time. But I'm just saying, I know my mind. And I think because I've had to overcome this many, many, many times, that my mind goes quicker into the affirmative. And I just jumped right on board to, okay, nothing happens by mistake. Everything is in divine order. Absolutely nothing happens by mistake. There's a reason they didn't get it that day. There's a reason they didn't get it this week. And I checked today, and it looks like it might get delivered today. And then I had a little tweak of, no one's at the office. What are they going to do with it? And I just, nope. I wrote, God's in charge. God doesn't do spite work. And this is going to be an exciting story of why it was delayed. There's going to be something incredible that happens that then I get to share. And that is because I've always, over the years, had to reinforce the Emmett Fox idea. I can have my indignation or my demonstration. I can complain and stop everything, or I can bless it and get excited about what a wonderful demonstration this is going to be. I can't wait to tell my friends what wonderful thing came out of this because it was delayed. And I could also joke, I could have driven it there in 4 days from California. So, and I'm not even sore at the post office. I'm like, I think of it as like a tithe to the post office. So what? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't have any negative feelings towards it. Edward?
Well, what you're describing is perfectly goes with the show. This week, actually I think it was on Tuesday where it all came together at the Patreon Zoom. But the short version of the show is shake it off, stir it up, and keep moving. That's what I've been telling myself when I'm, going through my day, teaching, getting ready for the show, the Zoom. We do a lot of things creatively because we live this way. And in order to keep doing it, so when negativity or doubt or these feelings, these misgivings that Darrell's describing come up, I just got to shake it off. And I can't outsmart. This is the thing. If I try to smart my way out of it, I just get stuck in it. I really have to do something that Darrell and I call dummy down.
Yeah.
I acknowledge how I feel. Stop trying to be right about ideas that don't feed me or feel good. Because I can be really like lawyer-esque in my brain. I'm going to prove these thoughts and why they're true. But if they don't feel good, I got to let them go. And usually I have to meditate, napitate in my car, relax and listen to something. There's a great recording of Eric Butterworth. Well, there's a lot of them. It's Eric Butterworth's podcast on truthunity.net. And it's a great thing for me to press play on because it allows me to stop thinking myself and just listen to something positive. And Olga Butterworth, right? That's his wife?
Yes.
Yeah, she does these great meditations on there. Anything where I could just relax and let go and let my mind drift back into the stream of life. So I shake it off.
Yeah.
Then I stir it up. And if you can't do that, just if you're at work, take a walk down the hall. Stop thinking about your stuff. Get a drink of water. Say hello to someone that for no reason other than Say hello. I mean, sincerely though, find someone you want to say something joyful to. For me, it's easy because there's always oddball kids around. I can just go, whatever, or take a walk and see those kids, or see someone, their librarian, and joke with her. Then so shake it off, then stir it up. Once the bad feelings and the thoughts that are causing them loosen up, set the intention to stir up the faith. And I got this very clearly on Tuesday. Darrell's back was healing, and I was
you were zooming.
I was zooming, and but it really didn't have anything to do with that. It was like I started sometimes ask myself, why do I do this stuff? Like, why do I get do the show? Why do I, and why do I stand, get on the YouTube right here and funniest thing and do this? And there's something I was listening to Olga Butterworth's meditation, and where she stated aloud, like their intention was to awaken the divine awareness within the listener, and that's really what it felt like, me coming out of the closet, if you will. I was like, that's what we want to do here. We want to awaken, hopefully we wake up ourselves. Hopefully it stirs your own faith. And another thing about stirring it up, and Frances Wilshire in the book Secrets that I read, she talks about ask the parts of you. Like for me, I like to come out and play with you, to tell you their secrets. For me, sometimes it's, I need to hear from you, Rich Ed. I love you. Why are you like a happy Ed, successful Ed, creative Ed? I talk lovingly
Special Ed.
Special Ed. It's funny. I made a joke about that yesterday. That's why I got into the field. But instead of trying to force it, because the message I've been getting lately is I've been pushing too hard in a lot of ways, and I know it because it feels bad. So this way that Frances Wilshire, to stir it up, is invite those parts of me to play like a child, right? And then something else that I do is something that I got from Wallace Wattles, is to remind myself I'm an advancing soul. Things are moving along. I'm on, like Darrell said, I'm on the train. Because I start to think I'm stagnant. I got to do something to make it happen. But no, what Darrell said is right.
The change is already happening.
Yeah, to remember I'm already on the train.
Yes.
I don't need to push harder.
Yes.
I'm already on the train. And then remind myself that, like when I think of Darrell and Wayne and all of you out there and the people that I'm going to work with, imagine that they're advancing souls as well. And we're bringing increase to each other in the world. And then the last piece, and this is really important, is just keep moving. Affirm that life is moving, that my good and your good never stops. Just put one foot in front of the other. Stop running from the life, relationships, yourself, mailing that thing, calling that person. Keep following your intuition, your inspiration, my divine guidance. Become excited like a child, and all that's within all of us. Become the excited child that's in all of us, and enter the kingdom of heaven now. And I just want to read this one thing.
Good, because you just said something that's in this book. I can't believe it.
Well, share that in a moment. I just want to share this because
share that.
I'll share this and then you share that, because Darrell left us I think it was the day I read this. Darrell left a song and he was singing, Charles Fillmore-esque about how singing heals.
Yes.
And it was right when I needed to hear it. And this goes with the show. It's from God Will See You Through, Mary Kupferle. And the chapter's called Sing a New Song. I love this book because every chapter is a very simple affirmation, affirmative statement, and then like a 3 to 5 page chapter. But this is just a couple of paragraphs where she says, sometimes we think we cannot get into the swing of things. This has been me. I'm really moving through this nagging feeling. I'm letting it go that I can't get into the swing of things. So she says, sometimes we think we cannot get into the swing of things, that we're out of step with success, wholeness, happiness, or peace. At such times, it is more important than ever that we realize that the gift of joy is innate within us and can be aroused. Paul says, listen to this. This goes with the show. Paul says, stir up the gift of God, which is in thee. Stir it up with the words, I will sing a new song. You can and you will find a wellspring of joy within you that you never dreamed existed. You need not wait until some future time to become aware of this inner joy. You need not wait for it to come to you through some person, particular thing, or attainment, which is what Darrell was saying.
Yeah.
Stop even thinking about that thing that you're putting so much weight on. Do not postpone your joy for another moment. Sing a new song of joy today, this hour, this minute. Sing a new song this day, a song of joy, and your thoughts will sparkle. Your presence will be radiant, and your life will be like the shining sun. That's what's going to make the meeting go well. Yeah. That's what's going to make the thing come through. the sparkling of our mind, not putting more pressure on it by trying to subtly force it to happen.
Well, it's funny because the show is coming together quite nicely because this goes perfectly with what you were just saying and what you just read. One of the notes I have here is keep creating new images of the good or of good you desire in your life. Keep creating new images of good you desire in your life. And Anwar Sadat said, it takes a realist to believe in miracles.
Yes.
You're allowed to believe that anything good is possible. So there's 3 steps. These are 3 easy steps that help us when we're stuck and we need to shake it off, or if we're feeling good and want to feel better, or we want to do a new thing.
Right.
And we've been reluctant to take the first step. Step 1, you must open your mind to unlimited possibilities for good. You can say, well, I'm too old. I don't know.
That really is the shake it off part,
Yeah.
too. Because when we got to admit, our mind is the one that they're saying limitations. So
Yes.
Darrell's saying, and this is the big turnaround point. When if we can admit it, these thoughts are in our mind, and then read
Yes.
that again. What did you say?
You must open your mind to unlimited possibilities for good.
Yes.
And number 2, trust that God, the universe, is working on your behalf, meaning you've already bought the ticket and boarded the train.
Mm-hmm.
God is it's already happening. Stop saying it's not happening.
That's the stir up your faith part. That's
Yes.
the stir up your faith.
No, trust that God, the universe, is working on your behalf. And step 3, if you want to demonstrate, never consider the negative side.
Yes, that's right.
That's actually from a Fillmore.
That's great.
Never consider the negative side. Just keep in the affirmative. And I wrote to myself, no more telling myself it can't be done because ...
Right.
That's resisting God's good. If you want to resist God's good and you really want to snub your nose at God and continue to just feel bad and stay stuck, well, then tell yourself it can't be done because of this excuse or that excuse. Because our excuses, we have, even if it's a list of 10 excuses,
Yeah.
well, what's outside of those 10 excuses? There's so much more possibility.
Totally.
So forget those. Stop it.
And you can take the word God's good and call it your good.
Your
the
good.
Because God is the good.
Oh.
And yeah, I like this. But remember, Darrell and I had this little exchange earlier. He wrote something down similar, but I just noted in a book for Joseph Murphy that he referred to it as a prayer therapy technique.
Yes.
And that struck me is that this is actual effective therapy we're talking about.
Yes.
It is like if you do this, this is the goal of what people go to therapy for. And you can go to people, and it's sometimes helpful to have some support. But at the end, what you're really going to be taught is how to think affirmatively and how to do exactly. It's therapy. It is therapeutic. It works. It transforms. It is the transformation we're all looking for.
Any good therapist, the goal, if they're a good therapist, is to get the client's hopes up.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
And prayer does that because prayer is positive mind conditioning. There's a great unity definition of prayer that I said a minute ago.
So good.
And now I probably, well, I shouldn't say, I can't find it, but it's somewhere in here. We'll see it. We'll find it by the end of the show, folks. But here's another thing to get you to help shake it off. This reminds me that I wrote this to myself in 2022 because we do morning routines. And the great thing about doing a morning routine, they're yearly readers. So every day has a new reading. But if you're continuing to grow, every year I get something new out of the reading I read the year before.
Yes.
And this is in my Around the Year with Emmett Fox from today. So it's Our Father, and it basically talks about how this simple statement clearly fixes the nature and character of God. It tells all that man needs to know about God and about himself, and about his neighbor. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "My religion is summed up in the first two words of the Lord's Prayer, Our Father." And it's talking about a caring and guiding, loving force. And we're all brothers and sisters. But then I wrote a note to myself to help get me out of resisting this. And I wrote, Darrell, you know how good it feels to create a gift for a friend and how wonderful it is when anyone appreciates you and what you've done for them? Well, that's how God feels about you.
So good.
Think about that. What that means is God is constantly creating gifts for me. And when I just say, thank you, God, thank you. Well, that makes God feel good. And this whole thing becomes this gratitude cycle.
That right there is the best way to stir your faith. Just start saying thank you. You might not even know in the beginning what you're saying thank you to, but soon you will. And that's funny because last night I was doing my evening routine. I read some Magnificent Decision by James Decker, and I read I read something from Joseph Murphy, and I thought to myself, I need a nice affirmation for when I go to bed, something that I can take with me, so my mind can feel good and go to work on the subconscious level. And it was, life wants me to have the best of everything. Like, just like you're saying, life actually wants me. Anything less, if I'm withholding the good from myself. It's such a good, it stirred my faith that it's not sacrilegious. Life actually wants me. It's designed because the more it feeds me, the more I can feed others. And one thing you just said, I got to share this. We're going to get moving to the break in a minute, but I wrote this. I had a student, and you're talking about when you get the client, your main job as a therapist or as someone who's supporting others, get the client's hope up.
Yes.
And I wrote this down and I didn't know if I was going to share it, but so I go to the coffee shop on my way back. Sometimes I'll go to the post office on my breaks or when I have time, and then I'll stop by the conservatory coffee shop, which weren't going to for a while, but it happens to be on the way back to school. And one of the parents of my students happens to work there. So it's like a joyful time to check in. It's so crazy because now I realize that I think we knew this woman when this kid was born because we started and now I'm teaching him and helping him. It's so crazy how it all comes around because I remember this name. And anyway, so I just had this inspired idea one day, and I told this parent, when you're because this kid's has been reluctant to write, and I was just like, he just needs to get practice in. So I told his parent, every night, all I want is 3 sentences. Just write 3 sentences. I just want him practicing all the time. And then I gave her one other suggestion of a thing to do. But this week it came full circle because he had a paper to write for his 5th grade class. And so all of a sudden I got the idea. First of all, I just stir this whole time when I'm interacting with her, I'm always telling her how much I love her son, how smart I think he is. I'm just stirring the hope up. And I'm always telling the kid the same thing. And I believe it because I know God's in there.
Well, you can't not believe it because Helen Keller could not see or hear. She was like in a dark coffin. Yeah. But the teacher did not say what all these. I get so upset with this because you hear it all the time in that place. Let's not get their hopes up because they're labeled X, Y, and Z. Do you know if that teacher did not constantly get Helen Keller's hopes up? I mean, that woman became an incredibly positive influence to so many people during the last century. Yeah. But how? And there's even movies, The Miracle Worker. Yeah. That's what they called the teacher. Yeah. But what the teacher was doing is what we should all be doing. Yeah. So this dampening of, better not.
And it's all
and look how good it works. So never feel ashamed about this is what we're here to do.
Right. And it's all it's so heavy-handed because it's a lot of they use research to back up their limiting ideas, but because they don't understand that consciousness.
Helen Keller wouldn't have survived at that school.
No, at most schools.
She'd be locked up and they go, "Oh, sorry, here we'll just give her something to sit in." Right.
Thankfully, it's a little better than that. But Anyway, so but this is the way these things work. It was just like one day I had these 2 inspired ideas, and one was just to write 3 sentences every night to practice.
Yes.
This week, using just the 3 sentences, he had a paper to write. He wrote a full 4-paragraph page by doing 3 sentences a night, built on just some inspired idea I had in my car, and decided to share with the parent, and just writing on this irrational idea that there's always hope. Let's just get the wheel.
Yes.
And then the teacher's blown away.
And also, Ed, the key too is setting the bar low, sets us up for success.
Yeah.
It's not, well, if you don't do, you're expected to do this and this and this. Yeah. No, set the bar low, sets us up for success.
I agree. A couple of things right there is, like my affirmation said, if life wants me to have the best of everything, then all I have to do is open the size of a mustard seed, and it will flow in. And then the other thing is doing a small amount. I think this is kind of what, isn't this like the Suzuki method is or something? But by doing just a small amount of something, once the subconscious mind goes from thinking I can't or I don't do that thing to, oh yeah, that's just some silly little thing I do all the time.
It's easy. Yes, your brain goes, it's easy. The power of the
subconscious mind starts to go to work.
I found the definition of prayer. So the definition of prayer we were trying to find earlier from Unity, actually. This is the definition from Unity.
Yep.
Prayer is a positive mental transmutation of energy within your own mind. It's alchemy. It's changing from the negative to the affirmative.
Yep.
And a short definition, a short version of that is prayer is a positive mind conditioning process. And that's what you were doing with that kid. Every night he was praying by doing the 3 sentences. That's
right.
Positive mind conditioning.
That's so true.
We don't have to turn this into some superstitious or dogmatic idea. That's the great thing that New Thought and even Jesus brought to the table was stop making it this weird, superstitious, dogmatic, like segregated thing. No, this is prayer. What that you got that child to do simply was a form of prayer. Positive mind conditioning.
And now his teacher and his parents
are
so
it's
proud
incredible. And him, he's probably like so excited.
The funny part is he's so happy-go-lucky. He's like, yep.
Yeah, but that's good. That means his brain accepted it.
He's the sweetest soul. Yeah, I agree. Okay, thank you to the Patreon people out there for contributing to the show through Patreon. It's such a big support for us and for the show, this ministry. Lynn Beach said, thank you for all the uplifting thoughts. Sherry Knight said, really enjoyed listening. Thanks, everyone. And that's the Tuesday Patreon. Prospering Patreon community Zoom we do every Tuesday. You can listen to it later if you can't make it live, but we love it when people show up live. We had a great one this week. We got our funniest thing mailbox. P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. We got a funny Sponge Kirk Loves You postcard from Kirk. He's got a great Emerson quote which says, nothing can bring you peace but yourself.
Yes, because Kirky said to me the other day on the phone, he goes, telling myself that I can't do something, it's just as easy to tell myself I can do something. It's the same thing.
It's so true. Good one, Kirky. Barbara Weatherman out there on YouTube. If you're listening on the audio app, you can on a podcast app, you can always join us on Saturdays, 1 p.m. Pacific time, live on YouTube. We love having you. Barbara Weatherman's out there enjoying the show. You are the best part of my week, she says.
Wow.
Let's thank our chief engineer who makes that podcast sound good and puts in all the sound effects and such, music. His name is Jeff Comfort. He's in Kansas City, Kansas. And each week
he takes us right into the comfort zone.
We should give a shout out too to the Unity Urban Ministry radio, online radio. There's a Unity, is it called Urban Ministry, UUM or something? The Unity Urban Ministry. If you look it up and look, they have a online radio show. It plays episodes of Darrell and Ed and other ministers sharing their great talks. So if you want to listen to that during the week, just look online for that and you'll find it. And we love Reverend Richard Pacheco over there who's keeping that going. So thank you for that. Should we do our 3 breaths here?
We got 3 breaths. These are goodies.
All right, let's take a deep breath. When you use this method, right?
This is to shake it off and stir it up.
What do I care how much it might storm? I got my love to keep me warm.
What do I care how much it may storm?
Yes.
I got my love to keep me warm. What do I care how much it may storm?
I got my love to keep me warm.
Do 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 do.
All right, people. We're sending you warm sunlight from beautiful downtown Culver City. Coming up next, the wonderful Wayne Manning gets us all on the right track with today's reading. Courageous Thinking. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from Middle School Studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
All right, real quick break. Is Wayne coming on?
Yes, Wayne's coming on. Lois Conklin's out there in the chat with us. Wayne. Ah, man, everyone's in for a treat when Wayne Manning comes. Darrell just went for a little break, restroom break. And these shows, the way they come together is mind-blowing, everyone out there. For Darrell and I, people sometimes ask us, how do you guys come up with stuff every week? It's not that at all. It's amazing the way God organizes the millions of things that we have when we come together. There's so many, there's so many things that Darrell and I were talking about this before the show. When we live this way, every day is full of miracles, divine order. It's amazing. And so many great writers and teachers that we read from all the time. And it's just amazing how there's an intelligence that organizes it and like streamlines it for the episodes. It's just incredible. That's how you know when you're doing the right thing for you, is when you love it so much that that's why Darrell's mentor Dugan suggested we even do this show. He said, you guys are talking about it all the time anyway. Why don't you guys do a radio show of some sort? And here we are. Yeah.
You know what Willa Cather said about miracles?
Lay it on me.
Cather wrote a book called Death Comes for the Archbishop. And in it, she said something like this: miracles rest not so much upon healing power coming suddenly near us from afar, but upon our perceptions being made finer, so that for the moment our eyes can see and our ears can hear what is there around us always.
Yes. Yes. The kingdom of heaven is indeed upon us. That is more than just a fancy little saying. Yeah. It's always, this part won't be on the audio podcast, but people out there in YouTube are checking it out. But this stuff, I always say, it leads me to the obvious that I was missing. That's been there all along. And when I wake up to my good, I'm the last one to know. My wife or Darrell will be like, yeah, we've been telling you that for years, man. I'll be right back to it.
Well, listen, I'll be right back too.
Okay. Well, since we're on YouTube and no one's here, talk about thinking affirmatively. This is an affirmative telegram that was sent during the last century. And this is just a great example of how not to discourage yourself. So here we go. Success, 4 flights, Thursday morning, all against 21-mile wind, started from level with engine power alone. Average speed through air, 31 miles. Longest, 59 seconds. Inform Press, Home Christmas. That's from Orville and Wilbur Wright. It's a telegraph to their father from Kitty Hawk, December 17th, 1903. 2 bicycle repair men who had a bicycle shop got so enthusiastic about the idea of flying to the point that they took the initiative, and instead of saying, oh, just a few feet off the ground for only 59 seconds, this is never going to work. Here they are going, whoa. They're getting so excited about the signs of land. Ed's here. We just had a nice little story time during the break.
Let's do it. I'm going to close one of these doors.
All right. Wait, is that the one?
Let's see. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the one. Do you know how to close it?
Yeah, let's do this, right? Right. Or
I think you got to put a pillow behind it.
oh, yeah. What if I do both?
You really want to be dark?
It's not dark. Let's see. What happens if I do this one?
Oh yeah, but you got to lift it from the bottom. You got to really chug it.
How about that?
Okay.
Will that work?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, you ready?
It's not contagion. It's just taking a deep breath to clear my mind. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from Middle School Studios. We got the amazing Reverend Wayne Manning. And how are you doing today, Wayne?
I'm doing reasonably well. Thank you.
Yes.
You know, when Wayne and I spoke on the break, and Darrell did as well with Wayne. And if you want to check that out, you can go on YouTube. But while we were on the break, after I spoke to you, I just realized that this whole thing has changed my perception from trying to get to some heaven or some ideal goal to really just intending to access the heaven that's already here, that I'm already in. That's really, and that takes, like Darrell was saying earlier, takes the pressure off of everyone else in my life. I stop wondering why they're not doing the things they should be doing to make the heaven I'm just trying to access the heaven that I know is already here because we're told about it, by all these great teachers. So,
Well, like the old man said, he said, son, it ain't the destination, it's the journey.
yes.
I know. When I was a kid, though, I didn't believe that. I wanted to be at the destination.
Oh, yeah.
But now I'm the opposite.
Come
Now
on,
I
Chris.
enjoy the
Come on,
creative
Christmas.
process. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it really is this whole, it turns, when you really see and switch the focus to realizing how great of a thing that is, that the journey is the joy, is where the joy resides. It's amazing. Yeah. Yep. So what else you got for us, Wayne Manning? You've been listening the whole first segment, and I know we sent you the stuff in advance. What's at the top of your mind to share with us and our listeners?
I got really inspired to start thinking about what happened for me that gave me a great set of tools to shake it off and move on. And that was coming to understand through brain science that it's normal and natural to have negative thoughts, and there's nothing wrong with us to do that.
Right.
The fact that our ancestors had what scientists call a negativity bias is the reason we're here today. And the way what got me to see that and understand that was the example of looking back, 100,000 years, whatever, when we lived in caves. You guys remember that. I mean, Darrell does for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember.
Living in, and so there were basically, life was pretty simple. It was about getting food during the waking hours and then resting between trips to get food. And so there were a couple of different mistakes we could make going out to look for food. We could assume there was a saber-toothed tiger outside the cave door, and there wasn't. Or we could assume there was not a saber-toothed tiger outside the cave door, and there was. Nature would rather us make the first mistake a million times than make the second one even once. Because if we make the mistake of thinking there's not one out there and there is, while we're looking for lunch, we're going to be lunch. So we were conditioned then to have a negative bias toward what can happen to us outside, which protects us by being alert always. Now, today, we don't need that so much, you know, but our brain doesn't know that really. Same brain we had then, we've got now. And so it's looking for something to go wrong. It's its conditioning. It's normal to do that. Our Buddhist friends have a wonderful metaphor for this. They call it monkey mind. Monkey mind is the aspect of the mind that chatters at us, you know, chatter, 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 as it's swinging from worry to doubt and back to worry again. That's its job, you know, is to make sure we get the full picture. It's dangerous out there, and we don't need that so much. And once I saw that, and there's nothing wrong with me because that's just the way my brain is working, it allowed me to see that it's possible. Once I see it, I don't have to do it. And so our job isn't to deny it away or to say, I don't believe that. Our job is to shift the focus of our attention away from it and onto something much more interesting, like the promise and possibility that lies just outside that chatter that's going on. And so learning to shift. When monkey mind pops up in me, I've learned to throw it a banana and move my attention to something else that's there for me to consider. That's much more interesting and empowering than whatever monkey mind chatter I'm currently enjoying, you know?
Yes.
So that's it. I was thinking about that and how that applies so much to what we're talking about here. That's the shake it off part. Just say to monkey mind, thank you for sharing. I'm moving on now over here and
Yeah.
have a banana, you know, rest up like that.
Yeah. One of the things I do when that comes up, I'll say, thank you for sharing. God's going to take care of that.
Yeah, there you go.
God will handle it. Thank you for sharing. God will take care of that.
There you go.
And it goes, really? Are you sure? Yeah, God will take care of it. Eventually it goes, wow, okay, God will take care of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing that's been helping me too, just last night and the last couple of days, when I've been hearing about certain things, whether it's like political or something at the work with like whatever, like administrative stuff, my mind, once my monkey's mind starts chattering, I say to myself, all right, I'm thinking these thoughts, they're here. Now what am I going to do? Because that breaks me from just swinging back and forth and thinking it again and like, oh, like almost like in denial and worry. It's like, yeah, okay, all that's true. What am I going to do right now with it? What do I want to, just that starts to propel me through it as well. And, I was thinking about the word current events. They call it current events. Think about that, a current, a flowing current. All these people are putting their attention on what they're calling current events. We basically have turned monkey mind we dress it up in a suit and call it the news.
And it's just gossip. It's just current gossip.
Yeah.
It's a current stream
and it
of
has
gossip.
a current, and the more people put their focus in it, the faster that current is moving.
Yeah.
So I redefined, this is like we're redefining what are the current events, because there's a bigger current happening individually that we can all plug into.
Good. Yeah.
That's great.
What else you got, Wayne?
Oh, well.
You want to read the reading, the Joyce Kramer?
Oh, I can read is this Joyce?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yes. So you knew Joyce?
Yes, I knew Joyce. And I can say she knew me. She liked me. I was pretty feisty in those days as a young minister, and Joyce took great pride in being feisty, and she was a change maker.
Yeah.
In unity and in new thought. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well, is how she titled this one. Wherever we go, however we go, God's Spirit is with us. To feel safe and secure, become conscious that God's presence of love is surrounding you, enfolding you, and protecting you. Live courageously without fear, knowing that you live and move and have your being in God. Move with sureness and freedom, secure in God's love. Regardless of what you hear or read, God's promise of love and protection are enduring. You have only to accept God's care. When you realize the ever-surrounding presence of divine love, you can no longer fear, for perfect love casts out fear. Remember God's presence and availability to you by reciting the prayer of protection by James Dillett Freeman. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And the supporting scripture that Joyce just quoted above is from that little letter of 1 John chapter 4, and it's verse 18. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Thus endeth the reading.
I love the line in there, regardless of what you hear or read.
Oh, yeah.
God's promise of love and protection are enduring. Or as George Bernard Shaw wrote once, what do you mean times like these? There's always been times like these.
Always.
Meaning, stop making that the excuse for hindering yourself. And we all do it, but we all have the opportunity to snap ourselves out of it too with these tools,
Yeah.
with all the tools we've been sharing today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I opened this. I just found this book on my shelf called "Fear Not" by Martha Smock, and just seemed to jump off the shelf to me. I bought it, and I've read some of it, but not really spent much time with it. So it's probably starting to call my name. And you read that, and we've been talking, and the chapter that had an envelope already tucked into it was God has not given you a spirit of timidity. God did not give us a spirit of timidity. It is we who allow the spirit of timidity to build up in us. It may begin early in childhood when we feel overpowered by an older brother or sister, or when we feel lost and scared in school, surrounded by strange children, overseen by a formidable person called a teacher. Then she goes down here. She says, we do not have to remain in a fearful, timid state of mind. Because this is, some people, I think, myself, I'll speak for myself, I would mistake and dress up fear and timidity as meekness or as some form of humility. But there's a difference. There's a difference. We have the power to free ourselves from the self-made prison. This is the good idea. I mean, this is the good news. We have the power to free ourselves from this self-made prison. We have the power to be the confident, outgoing, friendly person we long to be. God has given us a spirit of power and of love, but the power must be used. The love must be expressed. Practice makes perfect is the old but true saying. We can overcome fear and timidity through practice. Every day presents at least one opportunity to practice being friendly and outgoing. And says, God has given us, well, at the end, she says, fear not, there's nothing to fear. You are loved. You live in a friendly world. You are one in spirit with the people in your world. God has not given you a spirit of timidity. You can be the friendly, outgoing person you long to be, the person you really are. And that's what the show's all about. That's what all these practices are about, is to unlock the imprisoned splendor, that access to heaven that's already here.
You know, there's so much, we've been blessed with so much wisdom from the clear channels that have gone before us. Joyce Kramer certainly one. Martha Smock, she was editor of Daily Word magazine for a number of decades, I don't know, 30 years or something. She was editor of Daily Word and was still there and active in my first few years at Unity School. I got to know her a bit, and she has become one of my favorite Unity thinkers. There's a wonderful poem called No Other Way. Do you know that one? Do you remember that one?
No.
It's an antidote for me when I get to into a sort of a regretful state of mind or something, regretting things that I've done or haven't done and that sort of thing. Martha said this about that kind of thing. Could we but see the pattern of our days, we should discern how devious were the ways by which we came to this, the present time, this place in life. And we should see the climb our soul has made up through the years. We should forget the hurts, the wanderings, the fears, the wastelands of our life, and know that we could come no other way or grow into our good without these steps our feet found hard to take, our faith found hard to meet. The road of life winds on, and we, like travelers, go from turn to turn until we come to know the truth that life is endless and that we forever are inhabitants of all eternity. Reminds me that if I could go back and change one thing, I would probably unravel the whole thing. You know,
Yeah.
my life has been what it's been. I've done what I've done. I've said what I've said. What about now?
Yes.
Here I am. And I frankly, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else
Yes.
because I know the possibility and promise that exists right now. And this is where I want to be. This is where I can act. Waddle said it best. We can't act where we have been. We can't act where we're going to be. We can only act right now, where we are in this moment.
Yes.
And you know what's great? While you guys were talking, there's a reading I read this morning, and I was like, does this have anything to do with the show? And now it has everything to do with the show. And it's reminding us all that it doesn't take big hurdles. Matter of fact, the idea of I got to do big things to get from here to there, that's the worst thing we could do to keep ourselves stuck, is thinking that way. And it's about doing a little. This is my motto. Doing a little is a lot. Just like Ed taught that kid, just 3 sentences a night, set the bar low and we set ourselves up for success. And this reading reminds us all of that. It starts off with a quote from William Wordsworth. The little unremembered acts of kindness and love are the best of a good man's life. And it goes on to say the little things also disclose our character and reveal to others what we are like. Nails, rivets, and spot welds hold together houses and skyscrapers. Microscopic organisms are the substances of life and death. In fact, the entire universe, from quasars to the process of our brains, in reality, is invisible electronic impulses. And here's the best part for all of us to remember. Small courtesies and simple words sincerely spoken are certainly more effective than grandiosity in reaching out to others. A small compliment or the recognition of progress can change the complexion of another's day and of our own. The true magnitude of life is in the little things we say and do. Not the big heroic fantasies we have, and then they'll all see, that'll show them. Then they'll all know I'm a somebody.
One of the worst things we've done to ourselves, especially in the West, in our Western society, is to set the bar impossibly high.
Yes.
Ourselves and for those around us. Small, sweet steps is the antidote. And celebrate. We also don't celebrate enough. Take a small step, be successful at it, and celebrate it.
Yes.
And then move to the next small, sweet step. A bunch of small, sweet steps somehow wind up being a pretty big step.
Well, that's what on the break I read a positive little telegram that Orville and Wilbur Wright sent to their father, who was adamant that they shouldn't fly because he was a minister and said they were actually being blasphemous because only birds should fly. Well, they sent a telegram to him saying 59 seconds. They were in the air for 59 seconds. And on it says, tell the press. They didn't think, and they're telling this to someone who was cursing them basically.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't go, oh, Dad's real. Well, see, we proved that Dad was right. Only 59 seconds. Now, that was 1917. Just a few years later, there were planes flying in World War I,
Yes.
like flying for miles.
Yeah.
Just a few years later, because they celebrated their steps, these little steps.
Yep.
Can you imagine how many people would give up? 59 seconds, 3 feet from the ground.
Yeah.
What the hell? Dad was right. Mom was right. Don't tell him. He'll laugh at us. They got so excited, they wrote their father.
That's brilliant. That's signs of land, celebrating the small
Yes,
things.
celebrating the signs of land.
I was thinking when Wayne was talking, I was thinking when you were talking about how you wouldn't have changed anything and you would not change anything. Those are the things when we're praying. This kind of goes along with the Francis Wilshire. We can talk to those parts of ourselves that are holding on. Maybe it's our creative self or the rich part of us, and tell that part of us, like, it's okay. I wouldn't change a thing, because that part of us will go, really? Because we need to like retake dominion over our own consciousness, take the role of back from like these external parent figures, that we become the parent to our own consciousness and say, Ed, I wouldn't change a thing. I tell the creative parts of myself, nothing went wrong with those bands or that relationship or whatever. And that part of me, now the more I develop this relationship, the more those parts of me listen and start to let go. And then I was thinking, this is somewhat related somehow, I'm sure. It just popped into my head that this week there was someone from the district office that I've known for a very long time just started working with our school. And at our school, we used, for these meetings that are often online, my coworker developed this amazing slideshow that we all use, and it simplifies all the information from these documents. People are always like, wow, thank God for these slideshows. So someone from the district came, and their mind was like, oh, these aren't legally compliant. This is a person who was sent over, but is working for people who don't really have a clear vision of what's going on. And so I think my fearful mind was like, what am I going to do to help? And just saw this thing that's like, so she sent out, this person called me and said, what do you think? And I told her why they're so great. And I kind of helped dispel some of those legal fears, but I could tell her mind kind of rubber banded right back to her original thought. And so she sent an email out about the not using the slideshows. And then we were at a meeting, and these meetings my principal started doing once a week, which she pays us for, which is nice. She said, it's like 20 minutes and our department just gets together and we share what's really going on for us. How can we help each other, support each other? But this time that person from the district came and turned it into this like, these are all the things you guys need to start doing, otherwise this or that. And it was like, kind of like Chicken Little, because these things aren't even really issues. And I was just like, oh my God, I wanted to run out of there. I almost did. My inner spiritual mob boss was like, don't say anything, Ed.
But wait, and this is the head?
This is the what we would call a monkey in the middle.
No, but is she above you guys?
She's the liaison.
They gotta get rid of that. That's horrible. Why is she there?
Well, great question, but I don't have a say in that at the moment other than to bless it. So I spoke up. I said a few things, but the whole thing, everyone was just holding their breath and like, oh, what is
that's
going
not
on?
good.
So, but I used the Emma Curtis Hopkins, which is the only fall that man has is when we accuse ourselves or someone else of ignorance and like really judge them harshly for it. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to try this because I really wanted to like dig in, like you're saying, but I was just like, I'm just going to try this. I'm acknowledging what's going on, but I'm just not going to. See, what happens when I do this is I'll go, she could change her mind easily. Instead of like making it so permanent, she could change her mind easily. I'm just going to bless her. I'm going to acknowledge that's there. I'm not saying I'm wrong, but I'm also not going to lay a judgment. I'm just going to bless it Because what happens then too is I stop being so harsh on myself when I'm totally talking out of my behind or whatever I find out later, right? It's like, all right, we all do this.
Yeah.
But anyway, the miracle happened the next day. So I saw, like, I really made it a practice. I wanted so bad. I didn't even tell my wife about the meeting. I didn't tell you. I didn't, like, I just, like, it never happened. I don't care. Keep moving, right?
Yeah.
Shake it off, stir it up,
Stir
just
it
keep
up.
moving.
Yeah.
And so I did that. Next day I saw her come into the office, and then I remembered the person who I always say a joyful hello, because normally she's not part of what I'm doing.
How does the person feel who went through all the work and made this thing that was so helpful?
Oh man, she was more triggered by something, more upset about something else that had been said to even care. Like, I think she was so deflated
That's
about
so
that. And what was
positive,
crazy
what
is
she
that
did.
that day before, literally like 3 people came out of a meeting praising that slideshow.
That's what I mean. You would think the boss
Yeah.
would say, "Thank God you took the
But
initiative to do this."
Remember,
It's so
this
helpful.
isn't the boss. This is someone who works for the boss, and the boss, let's just say, the new HR person we finally have someone who's on top of their game, is now looking into that person.
The one who's complaining.
No, the one above.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The complainer.
Yeah, yes, because this lady, in effect, has her hands tied because she's not really being given good direction, so she's left to her own devices, and it's like not working out. So anyway, but I saw the person in the office when I was coming through, and because I've been doing this, I go, "Wow, so and so, that sweatshirt's awesome."
Yeah, you blast her
And
with love.
She
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, I got this at Target," and I said, "I know, they have great stuff there." And then she's like, "Does your wife make floppy hats?" Which my wife makes hats out of vintage material. They're cool bucket hats. And I said, "Yeah." And so she asked me for the website or how she could get a hold of it. And then, so it already changed the whole thing. And then she said, "Can I talk to you for a few minutes?" I go, "I got 3 minutes, and then I got to go get a kid."
Yeah.
And so she starts talking to me. And in my mind, because I've been doing this, I have some reason. I went back to being like when I was singing in a band at college, and I was just talking to some weird friend who wanted to talk to me. And I just looked at her through that lens, and it was just like not. And
Yeah.
it was a miracle. She's like, "I didn't like the way things went yesterday. Your principal told me what you guys are all really doing over here. How do I what do you need? You know, like, I want to talk to that other person and talk to them and see how I can work with them." She had a change of heart. And I said, for me, I already forgot about it. I said that thing was just like a confluence of bad vibes coming together. I've already shook it off, keep moving.
Yeah.
I said, I've been affirming that what you really want to do is collaborate, and that sounds like what you're doing now. I'm fine. And I blessed it and kept moving. And it was a miracle how it turned the whole thing around. And now maybe I'll be a part of, the small part of it, at least of facilitating something better for everyone else as a result as well. So, that was one way this week where I shook it off. I stirred up my faith, and I kept on moving. And it was so tempting to want to dig in, but I've been thinking about that Emma Curtis Hopkins thing, which is like, don't drop the hammer, because I can be really good at dropping down a heavy hammer as to why someone's right, why someone's wrong, blah, blah, blah. And I just don't want to be that role anymore.
That's the song is all about your experience.
That's true. We'll sing that in a moment. Wayne, you got anything else you want to share with our...
Well, just one more thought about, how we interact with our past. It isn't that we like close the door and walk away. There are 2 important things to do about our past, I think, and both of them are present actions. So they're in this moment. That is, when we recognize that we have aggrieved someone, that we're the aggriever, make amends wherever we can. Wherever it's useful and possible to make amends, do that. Whenever we find ourselves aggrieved, do forgiveness. And then move. That's also part of shaking it off.
Yeah.
It can then disconnect us from regret.
Right.
And let us appreciate the past, because we have done what's possible for us to do, which is forgive and or make amends. And that frees us. It frees our energy that was all wrapped up in that stuff, frees our energy then to stir it up and to move on.
Nice. That's the key right there, right? Free it up.
Yeah. And sometime if you invite me back, we do this again. It'd be fun to talk about the lenses available to us to see life through.
We'll do that.
We have
for the next
choices.
show. Lenses we'll put that in the title.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great.
and we'll have Wayne back.
Are you still at the Academy for Coaching Excellence, Wayne?
I am, and I should be. My current plan is to do that through the end of June.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't. That's a fluid date, but
Yeah.
working now to hand off the things I do to younger and abler, more nimble folks.
Right on. Well, if anyone wants to access that, it's in the description, both on YouTube and on the podcast. So we thank you for your time and your wisdom and your gravelly voice, which we always love to
I
hear.
love to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah.
And we got something we found from when you were, I think it was before Unity School even.
That's right. Well, apparently young Wayne Manning's teacher called him to his desk and said,
It's clear you haven't studied your geography, Wayne. What's your excuse?
Wayne replied,
Well, my dad said the world is changing every day, so I decided to wait until it settles down.
It could be true.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what we're doing over here at Funniest Thing, man.
Well, thanks.
That's right.
Thank you, Wayne, for being part of Funniest Thing, and thank all you who
Lois
listen.
Conklin, Sue Hodgson out there on the YouTube, Barbara Weatherman,
Yes,
and everyone else out there.
Press the subscribe button, share it with your friend, like the videos, and more people will find us just like you were fortunate to
Yeah.
do.
And rate us on, give us a review and a rating if you're on like Spotify or on
Yeah.
Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to it. That'll help as well.
Yeah, it takes 2 seconds to press the amount of stars.
Yeah, but most of all, practice, man. Let us know how it's going for you too. You can send us. You can go to darrellanded.com and send us and go to the contact form or find us at Darrell and Ed on Instagram or
tell
Funniest
us.
Thing with Darrell and Ed on YouTube. Comment on the videos. Let us know because we love to hear from you all.
Your experience of applying this stuff in your life.
Send us a postcard at P.O. Box Funniest Thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California 90232. It really inspires us.
Yeah.
Like we're not just messing around. Oh, great postcard. No, we read it with someone
We look
else.
forward to opening the mailbox.
Yeah, because you're just as much of a spiritual teacher as myself or Darrell or Wayne in your own life. So just keep it going.
And
You want to hit it? Hit it.
the snow is snowing, the wind is blowing, but I can weather the storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I got my love to keep me warm. I can't remember a worse December. Just watch those icicles form. What do I care if icicles form? I got my love to keep me warm. Off with my overcoat, off with my hat. I need no overcoat. I'm burning with love. My heart's on fire. The flames grow higher. So I will weather the storm. What do I care how much it may storm? I got my love to keep me warm. I got my love
And
to
Wayne
keep
Manning to keep me warm. Yes.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
We'll see you later.